Hello and welcome to Mr. Alvarez's virtual chemistry classroom. Today we're going to talk about how to round to significant figures, also known as significant digits. Our aim for today is, how can we round a measurement to the appropriate number of significant figures? Here are some steps to follow to make rounding to the appropriate number of significant figures a little bit easier. Step 1, write down the number that needs to be rounded. Step 2, determine the number of significant figures that the final answer should have. Step 3, starting with the first significant figure, underline the amount of numbers that should be significant from step 2. Step 4, put a box around the next number and then decide if the number is lower than 5, you're going to round down, and if the number is 5 or above, you're going to round up. Finally, rewrite your final answer. Let's try a practice problem together. So this practice problem asks us to round 475,671 to 3 significant figures. So for step 1, write down the number that needs to be rounded. 475,671. Step 2, determine the number of significant figures in the final answer. Well, 3. It tells us to round to 3 significant figures. Step 3, starting with the first significant figure, underline the amount of numbers that should be significant. So, starting here with the 4, we need to underline 3 numbers because our final answer needs to have 3 significant figures. So, 1, 2, 3. Step 4, put a box around the next number. The next number is a 6. So, the box, let's take a peek in the window. We see that the 6 is higher than 5, 5 and above, so we are going to round up. That makes this 5 become a 6. So our final answer is 476. But just like regular rounding rules, we can't get rid of these 3 numbers. 476 is a much different number than 475,671. So these numbers, these 3 numbers, the 6, the 7, and the 1, now become zeros. And we just finished step 5, rewrite our final answer, and we'll put a box around it to show that it is our final answer. Let's try a few more practice problems together. Practice problem number 1 states, round 0.004743 to 2 significant figures. So the first thing we're going to do, step 1, rewrite the number, 0.004743. Then, step 2, we have to determine the number of significant figures that should be in the final answer. 2, we must round to 2 significant figures. Then we go to the first significant figure, which is the 4. These 3 zeros are just placeholder zeros. They are not significant. So we go to the first non-zero number. In this case is 4, and we underline it. And we underline 2 times, because we have to round to 2 significant figures. Step 4, the next number, after the underlines, we put a box around it. And we take a peek in the window. We see this is a number 4, which is below 5, so we round down. So here, we don't have to do anything else. These numbers drop out. And finally, our last step, we rewrite the answer, 0.0047. And it has 2 significant figures. For question 2, round 4,004,911 to 4 significant figures. First step, rewrite the number, 4,004,911. Step 2, determine the number of significant figures that should be in the final answer, 4. And now we start underlining, starting with the first significant figure. So we have to start here at the 4, and we have to underline 4 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. Step 4, after the underlines, put a box around the next number, look in the window, see if it's 5 and above, or 4 and below? Obviously, 9 is greater than 5, so we must round up. This 9 makes this 4 become a 5. So our final answer, 4005, but just like before, you can't get rid of these 3 places. 4005 is a much different number than 4,004,911. So these numbers become insignificant zeros. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. They're placeholder zeros, which makes sense. 4,004,911 does round to 4,005,000. These two numbers are close. This number is not close to 4,005. For question number 3, we have 97,100, and we need to round that to 2 significant figures. Step 1, rewrite the number, 97,100. Step 2, determine how many significant figures should be in the final answer. 2. Then we underline, starting with the first significant figure, which is the 9, 1, 2. Step 4, we go to the next number, put a box around it. We peek in the window, and we see, is it 5 and above or 4 and below? 1 is obviously less than 5, so we are going to round down, which means this number doesn't change. It stays as 97, and everything to the right of that drops down to a 0. So the answer is 97,000. 97,000, if we look at our significant figure rules, has 1, 2 significant figures. Question 4, round 0.000499951 to 3 significant figures. Step 1, rewrite the number, make sure you have the appropriate number of zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 9, 5, 1. Step 2, determine that we need to round to 3 significant figures because that's what the question asks us. And step 3, go to the first significant figure, which is the 4, and start underlining. Once again, we need 3 underlines because we need to round to 3 significant figures. 1, 2, 3. This 5 gets a box around it. The next number gets a box around it. We take a peek in the window. We see that 5 is 5 and above, not 4 and below. So that's going to round up. This 5 is going to make this 9 become a 10, which is going to make this 9 become a 10, which is going to make this 4 become a 5. This is a tricky one. When we write our final answer, we have to write 0.0005, but we can't leave this number like this. This number only has 1 significant figure. The answer must be in 3 significant figures. So we have to put trailing zeros. Now I have 2 significant figures, and now I have 3 significant figures. So my best answer for question number 4, round 0.000499951 to 3 significant figures, is not 0.0005, it's 0.000500. Our final answer has 1, 2, 3 significant figures. And finally, for question 5, practice question number 5, round 73,731 to 3 significant figures. Step 1, rewrite our value. Step 2, determine how many significant figures there should be in the final answer. Step 3, starting with the first significant figure, underline that many numbers. So, 1, 2, 3 underlines. Box off the next number, in this case the 4th number. Step 4, so take a peek in the window. we see that 3 is below 5, so we're going to round down. These numbers stay the same, so we have 73 and a 7, but 737 is not rounded from 73,731. These two numbers become insignificant zeros, placeholder zeros. So once again, our answer is 73,700, which is very close to 73,731. Thank you for joining Mr. Alvarez's virtual chemistry classroom. Today we learned how to round using significant figures. Thank you again for joining us. I hope you learned something today. Please join us again soon.